Hi, welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. My name is Gabby and I have been MIA for a bit of time. So I wanted to do an update video and get back into the swing of things and introduce you to my son. So I started this channel to connect with other women who were trying. For those who don't know, we had 3 pregnancies before we got to the pregnancy where it was viable and I had my son. And I just kind of have been documenting it on this channel through a surgery that I had and just the trials and tribulations of having it, and also sharing my faith journey. I decided to go back to church, really just seeking a community. Once we had I think it was our second loss, after our second loss, we decided that we needed a community of hope, and I tried to share that here too, with just where I'm at and how we're becoming Christ followers has helped us, continue forward with our journey and getting where we're at. So I know some of you have been watching most of my videos. I know some of you may be new, so that's just a little bit of the background on me. I guess the other tidbit and where I've been is I'm also in recovery from an eating disorder. I have 4 years under my belt, which is amazing. 4 years without an eating disorder, any eating disorder engagement. But I knew being pregnant would be hard, and that's kind of where I've tailed off on making videos. I was pretty open about my prenatal depression. I got diagnosed with prenatal depression just before my 3rd trimester, and we talked about getting me on an antidepressant, and I was super hesitant, but I ended up going on one around 34 weeks, and from there it just got really hard for me. I had a lot of anxiety about losing the baby, about potential stillbirth, just all the things. I started getting anxiety about giving birth. I started really, really, really struggling with eating disorder thoughts and just the way my body looked, the way I was feeling, the fact that my activity level had really slowed down. I started struggling with the postpartum side of things and what that was going to look like, how I was going to struggle with depression after the fact, anxiety after the fact, the way my body looked after the fact, and it was really hard. I had to take a step back, which is why I stopped making videos, and just really lean into family and our community and therapy and my doctors, and just trying to do the best I could to really be okay. Fortunate that I got through it, and a lot of it was just the mental struggle for me versus any engagement that could potentially have harmed our baby. But it was hard, and it's still hard, to be honest. I am 7 weeks postpartum now. Our baby was born on Thanksgiving. After a crazy long labor, I think that's also part of my trauma a little bit, is I had a 43-hour labor. We went into the hospital on Tuesday, and after going in the Friday before and getting sent home because my contractions had just stopped after having them for about an hour, a minute apart or so. And yeah, it was hard. I think I'm definitely going to share my labor story, my birth story. I've started to feel more comfortable with owning it and knowing that I didn't do anything wrong, and our baby's healthy. He's perfect. He is amazing. I can't wait to introduce you all to him. He is just been the greatest thing ever, and he's been pretty wonderful to have as part of my recovery and just a daily reminder of what I've done, why I did it, and how strong I am when it comes to my eating disorder. But just insight, I was induced the Tuesday after I was due. So I was due on November 21st. I was induced on the 24th, and he was born via C-section on the 26th. So it was very long and just very long. And part of that induction piece and part of my birth story that I'm becoming more confident in owning is the induction was scheduled because of my mental health and just how bad I was struggling and not being able to handle being pregnant anymore, not being able to handle the thoughts, not being able to handle depression. And it was just what was best. I was obviously full term. And my doctors, weren't necessarily concerned for the baby's safety, but just more of making sure that I was going to be okay on the postpartum side of things, as well as just making sure that I was enjoying my pregnancy and that I was going to be a great mom. And I'm grateful for that, my team. I'm grateful for the doctors that I have. I've worked with them now for 3 years, with fertility and through this pregnancy journey. And so I know it was the best thing for us, but because of my induction, I went through a very long labor and I just feel guilt about it. I feel guilt for the impacts that it may have on my son. I feel guilt for the latching issues that he has with breastfeeding. I feel a lot of guilt and shame around it as well. And so that's where I've been. That's my update. I'm doing well. Like I said, I am doing my best with my eating disorder thoughts. Fortunately, I'm doing really, really well with postpartum depression. And there were a few weeks that were really hard. I'd say like the first 3 weeks were pretty hard. The first 2 weeks were really rough. Third week, I kind of came out of it. And since then, I've been doing really well. I think part of it is that I am active again and I'm running and skiing and my body is not, I wouldn't say bouncing back, but my pelvic floor is strong, and I think a lot of that just has to do with all the exercise I did during my pregnancy. And so I'm able and was able to kind of get back into physical activity sooner rather than later. And obviously I'm taking it easy, but I think that has a lot to do with it. The fact that I'm fortunate enough to be in a position where I can take 12 weeks, and so there's no rush for me to go back to work, is all beneficial. So, yeah, that's the short of it. I can't wait to, like I said, get back to making videos, connecting, sharing our journey, our faith-based journey, our parenthood journey, possibilities of another TTC. We don't really know. We're very open to it, but we're also open to this possibly being our only child, and just enjoying it and sharing any insights that I can with anyone here. I know that trying is hard, especially if you've been doing it a while. I know that loss is hard. I know that being in recovery is hard while doing all of this on top of being in a pandemic. And so I just want to be here to share, to be a support for you, and be more open about my faith-based journey as well. I was proposed the question in early January asking what would be the hardest thing about being a Christian in 2021. And I think the hardest thing is being open and having conversations. Christianity isn't something I really defend often. Religion is hard for me, but I know for me having faith is very important, and so I want to be more open about that and have more rhetoric and discourse around it and just share how it helps me. And everyone can take that with a grain of salt. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. That's where I've been. I plan to introduce you to our little guy, and we'll show you his nursery, which I'm sitting in right now, that I finished, obviously, and, let you guys know his name and all that stuff. And I'm sure those who have been following are curious, but yes, he has been snowshoeing. He's been to the mountains now twice, and he loves the snow. Obviously, he's only 7 weeks old, but almost 8 weeks. He'll be 8 weeks this week. But yeah, it's been great. It's I love being a mother, and I'm so glad that I went through all that I've gone through. And yeah, so I will see you in my next video. As always, if there's anything that I can be praying for you, or if you ever want to reach out to me, please feel free to. I love engaging with all of you. You have been such a big part of my trying to conceive journey and just my pregnancy, and I am so grateful for all of you, and I just can't believe that I had so much support throughout our pregnancy, and I'm sorry for going away, but I'm back now, and the biggest virtual hug to all of you, and I hope you're all well. I'll talk to you soon.